What's up everyone, welcome to the largest pile of gameplay hopium that FGO YouTube has ever seen. In this video we're going to fix a major issue in the game. I'm talking of course about the fact that extra cards don't have a special sound effect when you use them.
And shoot the lasers?
Thanks for watching, have a good one. Jokes aside, the current imbalance in the game is not a new one, it's just gotten more pronounced than last year. We're talking of course about quick cards. Spoiler alert, if you're already sleepy then this video will knock you out. As a brief background, if you're new to my content, hi, I'm SPACEQUADO and I stream on Twitch. I also have a dedicated quick account on the NA server that focuses exclusively on quick servants and has for a long time now. As a result, I'm pretty familiar with quick servants, CEs, and most importantly for this video, quick gameplay mechanics. I'm not calling myself an expert or anything, but I do have a pretty roided out Astolfo, so do with that what you will. The fundamental consideration I'd like you to keep in the back of your mind is something we'll call a benefits ceiling. A benefits ceiling is pretty straightforward to define. It's a theoretical cap on the positives you gain from something. For the purposes of this video, we'll be applying that to the three card colors: Arts, Buster, and Quick. It's extremely rare that you have too much NP refund. You can never really have too much attack, but it's really easy to have so many stars that the extra are essentially useless. So right up front, we know that Quick has a lower benefits ceiling than the other two card colors. Okay, now that some of you are deeply offended, let's look at this imbalance in greater detail, and then I'll propose an end-all, be-all, perfect solution to this imbalance, and absolutely nobody will disagree with it. As we said, the imbalance can be traced back to the source of what makes each card color different. For a brief overview in case you're a casual player who isn't a slave to meta and is therefore a happy person, let's go over the card colors. Buster is the OG meta and has a damage modifier of 150% on face card attacks. Its initial card effect boosts the attack of all subsequent non-NP cards by 50%. Buster cards usually generate very few stars and no NP gain unless they're told to either by a dominatrix or in some cases a chain starting with an arts card. From a party benefit perspective, Buster chains with normal face cards have 20% of a servant's attack added as damage. Buster Brave chains are therefore stonks for damage. The Buster meta used to be purely damage driven via crits and card color buffs, but now it's absolutely cracked in half due to the incorporation of cooldown reductions. Buster support is typically provided by Koinskaya, Oberon, Merlin, or Shakespeare, but that's only if your mom refused to give you her credit card when the others had banners. Arts cards do 100% of the servant's attack on face cards, meaning that with no buffs at all, the most accurate representation of a servant's base face card damage will come from using an arts card as the first card of a multicolored card chain. Arts cards have higher NP gain than the other two card colors at 300% of a servant's base NP gain number, and arts NPs tend to loop easier than the other two card colors because of this. They don't typically generate stars, but since NP gain is their true calling, they provide a 100% increase in NP generation rate for the rest of the non-NP cards in the chain. Arts meta is pretty straightforward. NP as often as possible due to higher NP gain. Arts support is most often attributed to Castoria or Tamamo, but you can also use Mozart if you're an actual Giga Chat. From a party benefit perspective, anyone participating in an arts chain charges 20% NP gauge immediately, which is bonkers, since some servants only have one arts card and or very poor NP gain. So you're getting 20% from the chain itself and increased NP gain on each arts card. This is why servants like our Reshka girl don't care that they only have one arts card. If her arts card crits in an arts chain, she can completely charge her NP gauge from 0, which is massive since her NP is Buster, but if I start fawning over Reshka girl, we'll be here all day. So now that we understand the buff jock and the charismatic theater kid, let's take a look at the kid who plays Roblox and runs cross country that knows a lot about investing for some unexplained reason. Quick cards have a damage modifier of 80% on face card attacks, meaning that they are the least ideal for doing face card damage when no buffs are applied. They also carry a 100% NP gain modifier on face cards, which means that the most accurate representation of a servant's base NP gain from face cards will come from using a quick card as the first card of a multicolored card chain. The strength of quick cards is generating crit stars. Do a quick chain and you get 10 stars. If you start your attacks with a quick card, the rest of the cards get a 20% increase in critical star generation rate. Keep in mind that crit stars cannot be used until the next turn once cards are selected, which means that quick cards are the only one of the three that cannot create a usable benefit on the same turn they are used, since Buster cards boost same turn attack, and arts cards can bump you up to the next level of overcharge if you play your cards right. Technically, quick cards can get you there as well, but then again, technically I can function in social situations, but that doesn't mean I'm good at it. Jokes aside though, Quick is an amalgamation of the weaknesses from Buster and Arts cards. Arts with Star Gen, Buster with NP gain, and packages it into one star-shitting package that can be a ton of fun to use because it can generate crits without the need for skills, craft essences, or mystic codes. And looking at this chart, one thing should stand out to you. Quick has coverage over all three card characteristics, though weaker than Arts and Buster at their respective traits, and weaker in base damage than the other two as well. So the fundamental strength of Quick truly is crit stars. But that shitting of stars is actually not an infinite positive. Again, let's compare Quick to the other two. You can never have too much attack with Buster cards. You will almost never have too much NP gain with Arts cards. But you can have too many stars. The game has a hard cap of 99 stars, and functionally speaking, there's typically no benefit to having more than 50 stars at a time. Finally, we can easily identify Scotty as the quick support in the game, with nobody else really at her level since the devs forgot to clothe one and completely forgot about the other. If you're thrifty, you can even talk yourself into using some of the F2P options as a quick support. So aside from the imbalance in the cards, there's also an imbalance of supports, but we'll talk about that more in a little bit. First, let's summarize what we've learned so far. Quick cards currently have a benefits ceiling that the other two cards don't have, because anything more than 50 stars is usually wasted and there's a hard cap of 99. Wow, that's it, huh? So easy. Okay, so now we need to discuss another imbalance, but this one is fairly obvious for the entire player base to see and also presents an opportunity to mitigate some of the issues we've discussed already. The card color meta supports of this game are typically recognized as follows. Buster has had Merlin, Coin Sky of Light, and Oberon. There are several other decent supports for Buster depending on the situation and your Chaldea capabilities, but generally speaking, the dominant Buster supporter was once Merlin and is now some combination of Coin Skies and Oberons depending on whether or not you need to do enough damage to destroy a galaxy or just a planet. Arts has had Tamamo and Castoria, though before Castoria it could be argued that Paracelsus and Nero Bride were part of a meta as well. The Arts meta since the arrival of Castoria is so strong that looping with 2 Castorias largely became a question of which CE do I need to use for that, and not is it possible to do that, though that's not universally the case. Other notable art support options have included Castor Gil, Mozart, and Lan Ling, who's capable of doing millions of crit damage as stated by someone in my YouTube comment section one time. Quick has had Scotty and St. Quartz Revives as its meta supports, with some others also existing as supports. There was no Quick meta before Scotty, which means that Quick was the last to get its meta/OP support servant since Tamamo and Merlin preceded Scotty by a significant amount of time. There have also not been any meta Quick supports released since Scotty, while Arts has had Castoria and Buster has had Nuclear Arms Dealers. This is extremely problematic because, as we covered earlier, Quick is inherently limited in its benefits ceiling when compared with Arts and Buster. Even Waver is geared away from Quick as his kit is better for Arts comps due to the synergy with his triple Arts deck, and better for Buster comps due to his low star weight and crit buff. Remember, Buster face cards hit harder than Quick face cards. As you can see, Scotty is phenomenal at enabling 2 things: high-level Quick card critical damage and quick looping setups. She can also be used in some challenging content if you spam her NP as often as possible, but that's not really what she's predominantly used for. Her strengths have 2 flaws that are synonymous with Quick cards in general. 1, Quick crits require stars, and they must go to Quick cards, which means they must be procured either a turn in advance or with specialized craft essences or mystic codes, and you need a way to get them onto the Quick cards you need that you also need to have drawn in that hand. And 2, Quick looping is the most high maintenance of the 3 card color looping metas, with requirements that are usually very strict unless you just really love using a plug suit and Waver. So Quick is held back by 2 major factors. It is fundamentally more limited than Arts and Buster due to a much lower benefit ceiling, and it does not have as many support options available to it. Now that we understand the problems with Quick in the game, let's take a brief moment to discuss timing. This video has been in the making for months, but was ultimately recorded right after the second LB 6.5 banner. FGO's anniversary is roughly 2 months away from the release of this video, so it is very possible that much of this could be wiped away by the release of some meta servant or even a broken craft essence. At this point, if the game is going to get a quick fix in the near future, it is most likely to be its 7th anniversary. Additionally, we all know that FGO is about to end and the servers will immediately shut down after LB7, so if they're going to fix this, they have to do it now. So now we get to the fun part, how to fix Quick. The easiest way to fix Quick is to release a servant that takes advantage of its strengths in order to shore up its weaknesses. Basically, the servant would need to recycle stars in order to funnel NP back into the party. This, or a similar mechanic, would finally make full use of what Quick cards were designed to do, which is create crit stars. Players wouldn't mind having a ton of stars if they could actually be used, and it would mitigate the drawbacks of having a lower benefit ceiling than Arts or Buster cards have. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the newest OP Quick support in the game. SPACEQUADO. Okay, so the name and image aren't important, but the skills in NP are, so let's focus on those. Here's the kit. Its first skill, Brilliance of the Stars EX, generates stars per turn for 3 turns, 10 to 30 depending on the level, and increases attack for 1 ally for 3 turns, again depending on the level. It also applies Guts for that ally, 1 HP 1 time over 3 turns, but it's stackable, and it reduces party HP by 1000. I put demerits on all 3 of these skills because I felt like the servant was just a little bit cracked, plus it kind of fits in thematically. The second skill, Speed of Light A, applies Quick Up for the party for 3 turns, scaling by level 30 to 50%, and increases party quick card star absorption by 500% over 3 turns, and reduces party HP by 1000. The third skill is what I'm most proud of about this hypothetical servant. Contagion of the Black Hole EX. Increase NP gauge for the party, scaling by level 10 to 30%, and apply Black Hole status to self for 3 turns. It also reduces party HP by 1000. Again, that's part of the Black Hole theme. The Black Hole status means that it will consume stars per turn, scaling by level 10 to 20, and it will charge the party's NP gauge based on the number of stars it consumes. Based on level, 10 to 20 stars would equal 10 to 20% NP gauge. And it would also reduce enemy debuff resist based on the number of stars consumed. Scaling by level, 10 to 20 stars would equal 20 to 40% debuff resist down. I didn't really pay attention to the cooldowns here, so you don't have to either. On the Noble Phantasm, I called it Embrace of the Event Horizon, the comfort of the endless expanse. This NP recovers HP for the entire party that scales by NP level 1000, 1500, 1800, 2100, or 2500 HP at NP 5, and gives buff removal resist that scales from 50 to 100% based on overcharge. Plus, it gives a 60% chance to apply terror status to all enemies and a 60% chance to reduce NP gauge of all enemies. A servant like this does not fix the inherent issues with quick cards in totality, but it does put a massive band-aid on the bullet hole. Frankly speaking, there may not be a way to close the gap between quick and its more dominant card color siblings unless they buff a core mechanic or algorithm to quick itself. Now, technically speaking, you could put the Black Hole buff effects as a buff on any current servant's kit, but this is a business and we need to make money, so it goes on a new servant. Another potential fix, though I don't think it would completely close the gap between quick and its siblings, would be to give quick face cards a first card buff. That is, if you start a chain with a quick card, it increases the crit damage of all subsequent cards by a certain percent, maybe 20%, to directly combat the attack shortfall that quick cards have. This would make things interesting, but meta-wise, the gap would still persist. Even if we disregard the option of a new servant or core gameplay mechanic change, the end result should be the same. Reduce the impact of its lower benefit ceiling by being able to consistently make use of extra stars. To me, that is what it will take to make quick exciting again. I am of course biased due to how much I enjoy my NA alt account, but I think we can all agree that having access to more different styles of gameplay is good for the player base and good for the game. In short, the way to fix quick is by enabling it to be the best version of itself. Sure, there are some servants who consume stars to gain something, but in my opinion, these kinds of skills don't do anything to bridge the gap between quick and its siblings. So it wouldn't be enough to release a servant that just consumes stars for a benefit. A new quick meta supporter should facilitate an ecosystem in which quick servants can not only make use of their stars, but also reliably NP loop with greater stability. So what do you think? Is SPACEQUADO the single greatest fan-made servant in the history of the world? Is it missing the mark and you know of a different way to fix quick? Or do you think that quick is fine as it is? Maybe even impossible to fix? Let me know in the comments below. I want to send a huge thank you to my community for supporting me and my content. If you like it too, you can like this video and subscribe to my channel as well. You can also hang out with us on Twitch, Twitter, or Discord. All links are in the description below. Thanks for your time and take care of yourselves.